Hey, book besties. Welcome to More Than a Book Club podcast. I'm your host, Leyna.
And I'm your other host, LJ.
And today we have an author, and she's the host of an online book club, the Middle Book Club. Gretchen Anthony is with us today.
Woohoo!
Welcome, Gretchen.
Thank you for having me. This is going to be fun.
I'm excited to talk because one of the things you had reached out to us, and you are our expert on books that feature women in the middle of their life. I'm so excited to talk about this topic.
Yes. Yes, me too.
Well, I was so glad that you were open to talking about it because at the middle, if we call it the Middle Book Club because it is really about women in, I like to call them those juicy middle years. My last book that came out about a year ago was called Tired Ladies Take a Stand, and it was about four midlife friends who are all dealing with hijinks of their own. And as we were trying to, when you start marketing a book, you do the comparable titles and you try to find books that are similar to yours and what have you. And I realized how few books feature midlife heroines. There's like this, huge number of books about women who are just coming of age, kind of at the early prime of their lives, starting careers or finding romance or whatever. And then once they do all that, it's like, it seems to be as if their stories are no longer interesting because then like the number, then we drop off and suddenly when we turn like 70 or 75, we become interesting again. If you were to just look at our literature, I like to call it the Miss Marple effect because it's like, we get into old age and we get quirkier, whatever. And, I think I said to my agent or my publicist or something one day, I was like, if you just looked at our contemporary literature, you would think that every woman was like just left the face of the earth by the age of 40.
and right. I think it's not just literature, it's also media. Like if you're looking at TV shows and movies, a lot of those women, or if they are portrayed, they're played by much younger women who are really in their, early 30s playing a 40 to 50-year-old. Like they're
totally agree.
And yet we'll have people that look 30 playing high schoolers. So, not as much anymore, but definitely if we look at some of the ones, what was the movie that Grease, where it's like you got like all these people in their 30s and look like they're in their 40s playing high schoolers. But no, it's true. And I mean, I feel like I've even heard like actresses say that they're at it when in interviews and stuff and be like, I'm at that in between stage. Like I'm not young and hot, but I'm not grandma. I guess I could be mom, but then they're not the main characters. And it's like, that's really sad.
Yeah. And you had said that, we become quirky again whenever we're in our 70s. And I'm like, I know I'm 43. LJ just turned 43. I know a lot of quirky people. We're still quirky. We're still fun.
Quirky.
We're still hot.
Yes.
I mean, at least hot. Like
at least
hot flashes, all of it. Yeah. And I mean, I do think that's changing, but that's why I started the book club because number one, books, one of the things I love about your book club or your podcast is that I really think we undervalue or we don't talk about enough the fact that books build community. Like books bring people together because what's the first thing that you do when you read a book that you love? Call your best friend, which is basically what you guys did, start a podcast. And you're like, oh, you have to read this book. We pass it on and then we want to talk about it with that person after they read it. And so I was like, I don't know. I'm going to start this book club. And it's turning into a community of people who just, love to talk about these characters and we're getting to know each other and it's just fun and it's casual.
And
I love it.
Substack, correct?
Yeah, so we do it. So I write about the books every week as I'm writing them. So it comes out like there's a newsletter that comes out once a week, and members vote on which books we want to read for next month. But the live chat happens at the end of every month, like it's like the last Thursday of every month on Zoom. So we actually see each other and we chat. And,
that's cool.
And then, like today I interviewed the author for the book that we're reading this month, which is Hot Not Bothered.
Ooh, I like that.
I love the tabs you have in there.
Yeah. So on Substack, you can see the videos of the author interviews and stuff like that. But you can, it's free. Like you don't book clubs. Book clubs should be free.
Yes. And I actually got to catch the first 15 minutes. I was taking my dog to the vet, and so it popped up and it was like, we're going live. And so I clicked it as I was getting ready, and then I got in the car and just kind of said it. I listened to it. I didn't watch it, but it was fun to listen to the author talk about, how she got into writing and, just different things. It's always fun to hear about those kinds of stories and how she got into her genre. And I thought it was really interesting when she was talking about the different genres that she wrote in and how she kind of hopped along. And I was like, man, that's not something you see all the time, is an author writing in several genres and featuring characters that are middle-aged women that can go everywhere,
Yeah. She's written like historical sagas and rom-coms and just general fiction. So her pen name is Harper Ford, but her real name is Becca Maskell. So you can go to themiddlebookclub.com.
Oh.
Yeah.
We will link that in our show notes so that people can find you on there too, because I joined recently, and then that's how it popped up on the live, but I've been getting the emails, so that's
oh good. Yeah. So it's just there's something about building community, not just around people who, love books, but people who are so, we're in the same phase of life. We're dealing with, and you're right, we are quirky. That's the other thing, it's like all of my books, I've written 5 books now, and I love a good quirky character. They're all like family comedies. The quirkier, the better, because we're so weird. Like as human beings, we are so weird and quirky and unusual and stuff like that. So, there's something about hanging out with people in similar phases of life and just learning that you're not alone in all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's huge whenever you're all going through the same thing, or you're like, is this normal? Someone tell me.
Right.
So I have a question for you. LJ and I had talked about this on our last podcast
I know what you're going to ask, and
episode.
we have to know.
We had been talking about what we consider middle age.
Okay.
So when you're talking about middle age, what comes to your mind when you're thinking about...
Or you're the expert, so tell us, what is the right thing?
So middle age is pretty much whatever I am right now. No, I'm 54. It's funny. Okay. So I very specifically look for books where the heroines are somewhere between 40 and 60. Because as I was looking around online, that was just like the most general consensus. But when I was 40, I didn't think of myself as a middle age. I mean, I was aware that people were starting to consider me middle age, but like I was 36, I think, when my youngest, we have 3 boys, and my youngest, I was born when I think was 36. So he was only 4 years old when I turned 40. And I was like, I'm not middle aged with a 4-year-old, So, I mean, it's a state of mind.
It is.
Yeah. No, and I think because I wouldn't have thought that I'd feel middle-aged except for all the memes and all the TikToks and stuff. And like I love the girl in the We Do Not Care Club.
Yes.
That's like, I mean, it's just so, and
I'm a proud member.
Okay, I'm a proud member too. And it's like, it's all these things. And it's so funny because, we were kind of talking about that. And we're like, we also kind of think 40 to 60, but then I started thinking, but who's going to be 120 years old? So then I was like, we need to lower it. But I agree. I think 40 to 60 it's a unique time of life. That's so, I mean, I feel like people think about the 20s separate from the 30s, and then you hit 40. And I really do think it's this group where we're all at different phases, perhaps, of, all sorts of things going on. And it's like, is that perimenopause? Is that menopause? All these things.
Yes.
And we're all, experiencing them together. So, okay. We're going to go with 40 to 60.
I also think that it's just a crazy time when women are reinventing themselves because, like you said, you had a 4-year-old at 40 And my mom, whenever she was 40, all of her kids had left the nest. Like my sister and I graduated high school whenever she turned 40. So I'm like, that's just
Yeah,
crazy to me to think about.
I know.
That you can have this wide range of, times of life, but you're all going through some of the similar, hormonal things, or where you are in your career, where you are, you know, even if you're 40 and have a 4-year-old, you're still kind of reinventing yourself to some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, women are so good at that. We just continually adapt, you know?
Mhm.
Yes.
But and it's funny, I was thinking about this too, like your mom, because my mom was similar. I mean, she might have been a little bit older, but similar. But I think that's also kind of like culturally, like
Mhm.
as more women went into professional
Mhm.
careers, we waited longer to have babies, and I started rewatching The Golden Girls.
Yes.
They're in
Yes.
their 50s on
Okay,
Mhm.
that
and
show.
they dressed them. I feel like people in their 50s in the 80s dressed old. Because like my grandmother died, one of my grandmothers died at like 64, and my mom is in her 70s. And I swear my mom looks just like her mom, but my mom looks younger because she doesn't have like,
Yeah,
she dresses young. Like she, you
yeah,
know?
I will say they dress older, but they looked really comfortable.
Oh, they
that's
really
true.
did.
And their flowy clothes.
Mhm.
That's true. But I also think part of it is because even as, I mean, the 80s to me doesn't seem, well, it does seem like that long ago now, but they were told that was kind of like they were
The
done. Like
expectation,
they had,
yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, they didn't have a whole lot of worth left, so they were told they were old. Whereas I think now women are reinventing themselves even, up into, I mean, look at Jane Fonda. She just constantly, every decade, she
I
has like a new
know.
person in her come out. So,
I love it too.
yeah, I do too.
No, it's true. I can see that. And I do feel like my grandparents, I mean, thinking back then, like when I was born, they were like in their late 50s and they did seem a little bit older. And what's funny is on the other side, I had great grandparents that were the same age because like one side had kids younger and I'm not even kidding, like my one grandmother and one great grandmother, same age, like same year in school, which is wild to think about now. But yeah, like it was just a different time. And gosh, the 80s, I'm sorry, that was only 20 years ago, because the 1990 was 10 years ago.
I
1990
know.
will be 10 years ago forever. I'm stuck in
Forever.
2000. I'm stuck
Yes.
in
At least
2000.
at least now jeans are back, like a little bit baggier. I'm
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
thank God I can breathe again.
I just don't want those low rise that
No.
started in the
No,
2000s
no, no,
coming
no,
back.
no, 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 no.
Absolutely
These are
not. They
mid-rise.
did
I'm
not
all
look
about the
good at me when
mid-rise.
I was young, and they definitely will not look good on me in my 40s, and I'm okay with that. I don't want to try to look good in those.
Yeah.
They're not comfortable.
Well, the
So,
first
yeah.
you were talking about, like, your grandmother, the first book that we read for the Middle Book Club was, The Frozen River by Ariel
Yes.
Lawson.
So good.
It's so good. And she is 53 or 54 in that book. And
Mhm.
there are a lot, I mean, her kids are all grown and,
Mhm.
becoming adults. And a lot of the passages in that book, she talks about being very aware that life doesn't hold much more time for her.
Mhm.
She's looking at the final years in her marriage, but
Mhm.
that was in the 1700s, I think. And,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
biologically speaking, she was coming up on the end of her life, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
So even though I counted that as the middle because it was 54 years, I mean, she was, um, relatively speaking, she was much older, so to
Mhm.
speak, than a lot of the heroines that
Well, I feel like
we've read in other
in that
books.
I feel like in that book, she didn't feel old. Like, that's something we've talked
Right.
about before is
It's true.
sometimes people that try to write characters that age that don't do it well. I mean, like, there was a book that I read, and I don't remember what it is, and I wouldn't wanna name it because, I didn't love it, and I wouldn't wanna hurt the author, but I read a few years ago one that was, like, supposed to be like a beachy rom-com, and I'm like, "Oh." Like, the main character was maybe, like, 39. I'm like, "Great." And really I kept double checking, is this character really 39? They made her seem like it was the end, like she'd never find love again. and all this stuff. And by the way, so I went through a divorce 2 years ago. And so this is before I go through a divorce. And then I like go through it and I'm like, I'm never gonna, which is not true because I have had a relationship since. But, like I feel like it's like, what is this message that they're sending out that like I still can't believe. And it was like everyone was just so like this man that came in of like her same age or older, like how fabulous that she got this man. And I'm like, how fabulous he got this girl. Like,
yeah,
but she acted
exactly.
like, don't get me wrong. I'm like, she's acting so old in this book. And then I'm sitting here like, I lean over to pick something out. Oh, my back. But, still in my head, I'm not old. Like, I don't, in my head, I'm still looking for an adult. Like, where's the adult?
Yes. Where's the adult?
Where's
That's
the adult?
what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean by it being a state of mind in a lot of ways, because I mean, we can't beat biology. We can, deal with biology, but we can't beat biology, but that's only one component. So, but, I just lost my train of thought.
It's okay. I totally interrupted you about Frozen River.
Yeah. Menopause brain. Do you have any idea how old that author was? Like, was she...
I don't remember. It wasn't like a super famous one. It might have been a self-published, like on Kindle Unlimited.
Are you talking about the one that you read, LJ? I thought you were talking about Ariel Lawson.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. We could probably find
Ariel
out.
Lawson is, I want to say, just a few years older than me, because
I felt like she wrote the character very well.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
So that was a book that my mom came and stayed with me for a weekend. And I was like, you should try this one. And she picked it up and she read it that whole weekend. Like, she was like, I have to finish it. Has to know what happens.
Yeah.
It is such a good book.
Yeah.
And we had talked about books featuring middle-aged heroines. And that was one that I wrote down too. Because I was like, this is such a good book.
She's 47.
She's 47.
Oh, she's 47?
Wow.
Oh, that makes me feel bad.
So I have this thing, I don't know if this is common with everybody, but I always think people are the same age as me. And I think part of middle age is now all, like, I go to a book club at Neighbor Books, our local bookshop, and everybody was introducing themselves, and one person started saying their age, and they were 23, and the next person was 21, and I was like, I'm 43 and I can tell that I am not the same age as you. Like, I do not fit into this category. You are now closer to my children's age than to my age. And that was when I was like, weird. Okay, not everybody is the same age as me. So
have you gone to the doctor yet? Have you gone to the doctor yet? And the doctor walks in and they're younger than you? Have you had that experience yet?
Yes. Multiple doctors. Yes. My eye doctor is adorable. My dermatologist is adorable. My endocrinologist, this one actually I don't know, but the one before definitely was younger. So yeah, I don't know. But it's funny. You say you think everyone is your age. Anyone that has accomplished something where I'm like that's so cool, or they're in this job that sounds fancy, I think they're older than me.
Yeah.
And they're
like
not.
Me with Ariel Lawson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'll be like, wow, they did this thing. And I'm like, they must be older. And it's like, oh, wait, they're 5 years younger than me. Okay. Never mind.
And then you just feel behind in life.
Yeah. Well, I had been waiting to have, because I'm a teacher, to have an actual like head principal be younger than me. And it hasn't happened yet. But it's getting real close. Now, I've had assistant principals that were younger or close in age, but I keep waiting. I mean, head principal, I hope my principal, I love my principal. Like, I'm at a new school. This guy is amazing. He will tell you exactly how it is. And he's so real. And I just am like, okay, you can never leave. But, when he does, it'll probably be someone younger than me.
It's weird to think about.
But you will look at him and think, or them, you will look at them and think they're your age.
Or I'm still going to think they're older. I'm still going to... Well, it's like,
older.
Do you ever watch...
Yes, older.
Do you ever watch movies from your childhood and you're like way older, but you still look at the characters that you knew were older than you, as older than you? And I have a really stupid example. Babes in Toyland from like the 60s with Annette Funicello and someone else. I don't know who. Anyway, they're little Bo Peep was older than me the first time I saw it. She's like a child. And I look at her, I still think of her as... she's older. Now, I realize in real life she is, if she's still alive. But, still, I'm like, no, she's older. And she's like 12. Sorry, the cat is back.
So what other books have y'all read in the Middle Book Club? Or do you have any that you would recommend?
Yeah. Actually, I brought some. I came equipped. So this one we are discussing, Hot Not Bothered. I would recommend this. We have a chat, an online chat in the book club, and somebody said and I totally agree with this, that the publisher's summary of the book totally undersells how emotional and sweet the book is in a lot of ways. And it's so funny. There's the scene at the beginning where it's just like the main character is experiencing perimenopausal symptoms, and she leans over at work and just has like a fart fest. And I laughed so hard.
Is that a perimenopausal symptom? I'm like, I'm
good to know.
Not looking forward to that one.
Not for everybody, but I just laughed so hard because it was kind of in line with her other perimenopausal symptoms. Yeah. And I mean, it's a really funny book. This one, Miss Benson's Beetle. Have you read this?
I haven't.
No, I'm going to write it down.
This one is about, and she's an old maid in this book, even though she's in her 40s. It's set, I think, in the 1930s or maybe late 40s. Anyway, so this woman is a teacher, and she has this very, she's burned out and unpopular, and has this big crash out at work, and kind of has no choice but to disappear completely. And so she follows a lifelong dream of going to find the golden beetle in Borneo.
Oh, I've never heard.
And it's fiction.
Oh, okay.
But it's about her taking this journey and the woman who comes along with her. And I've read it 2 or 3 times now. And I was so excited when the book club, I always put a few selections up every month and they choose one. I was so excited when they chose this one because it's just very sweet. It's Miss Benson's Beetle by Rachel Joyce. Okay. And then last month or a couple months ago, we read I brought one for, if you're a thriller.
Oh, yes, I am.
So this is I live in Minnesota, and this is another Minnesota writer named Mindy Mejia. And this is one of her books. She has a series that's out now, and the 3rd book is about to come out next week. And I'm very excited. But this book is a standalone, and it's called Strike Me Down. And it's got 2 middle-aged main characters in it, 2 middle-aged heroines, and they're both point of view characters. And one of them is like this superstar, kind of like martial arts kickboxing champion, and she runs this whole nationwide chain of gyms. And so she's just incredibly well known. And then another woman is a forensic accountant who gets hired to look into how millions of dollars suddenly disappeared from this. Mindy, I interviewed her for the book club. I asked her what her inspiration was for this book, and Mindy herself is an accountant, and she said, I was messing around looking for a new subject for a book, and I just challenged myself to make forensic accounting thrilling. And that was the origin story.
I love that. That's so good.
It's so great. Good. This is just flipping pages, reading the book, a super easy read.
I love books like that where you just can't put them down and you just go through them fast.
I know. And I can tell you, because this book, this podcast comes out after the announcement's made, but the book we're going to read for September is Killers of a Certain Age.
Okay, I've heard of that one.
Yes. It's about, now this hits they're 60. So this is the very tail end of middle age, but it's this group of former female assassins who have to reconvene for one final mission to take care of someone who they thought they'd taken care of long before, and yet they're 60 and life has changed and the stakes are different. And I've actually read it and it was great. And so I was really glad when people chose that book. So that's Killers of a Certain Age.
You read that recently, Leyna, right? You and Emily both, I think. Or
I read
in the
it
last
about
year.
6 months or a year ago.
Yeah. I feel like, because I think Emily read it too. That's one of our friends. Because I was like, I know the name, which means people that I talk about books with read it. So,
it's got a really recognizable cover too. It's got this hand holding a bright red knife.
I
The
might
cover is
have
what
it.
got me. The
Yeah,
cover
the
got me
cover's
because it was
great.
so cute.
I might
Yeah.
have it from Emily. I don't know, because I borrow books from her all the time.
So I did write down a couple of names of books because I was trying to think. As you were mentioning different books for this book club and talking about middle-aged heroines in books, I was like, do I know any books?
Yeah. Do you have recommendations?
It made me think for a few minutes of like, what have I read that has that age group? And then I was like, some really good books have middle-aged women in them.
Oh, I want to hear.
There was one, and I can't remember the exact age of the women in the book, but it's called The Bandit Queens by Parini Shroff. And it's
wait.
set in India. And the main character, Geeta, her husband disappeared 5 years ago. She didn't kill him, but everybody thinks that she did. And so she's known for being a self-made widow. And nobody messes with her because they think that she killed her husband, when really he just left her.
Oh,
but
that's a great premise.
All of this kind of comes about whenever she's trying to, make something of herself, and things start happening to threaten her security, basically. So then she has to kind of go out and make things happen.
Okay, I'm going to check that one out.
It was a really good one. That was one that I read. Vox by Christina Dalker.
Yes, I've read that.
Which that one, it's a dystopian book, which I think I read that in 2020. I read so many dystopians in 2020. Like, I don't know what was going on.
I think you and the world read.
Right?
I was like, this is what we're living, so let's just talk about all the bad things. But Vox by Christina Dalker, it's women are only allowed to speak 100 words. And they have a device on their, like a watch that basically counts down their words that they have left. So women of all ages, even children, have this device, and they can only say 100 words. If they say more than that, they get shocked, I think is what happens. I can't remember exactly what happens, but she's a neurolinguist. So she has all of this knowledge about speaking and the brain and all this. And she can't really use it. And she loses her voice, basically, because she can't stand up for herself, can't do things. And women aren't allowed to read. Like, it's very much a dystopian, but it has a happy ending, right? But it was a really interesting read and featured, the main character, Dr. Jean McClellan. She has children that are like an older teenager and then a younger daughter who is just about to get the band on her wrist, I believe, if I remember correctly. But she was, I believe, in her late 40s in the book.
I forgot about that book. That book really made the rounds during the pandemic, understandably. Yes. Yeah. There's a book that I really want to read that just came out maybe 6 months ago. It's by Christina Clancy, and it's called The Snowbirds. And it's gotten great reviews, and I've met her briefly, and she's just like a really bright personality and delightful. So I can only imagine. And it's about this couple that lives somewhere in the Midwest, and they end up going to Palm Springs for, like, they're not quite retirement age, but they just have they have to completely reevaluate their marriage. But, in a place like Palm Springs that is just like so bright and colorful and full of characters and stuff like that. So I really want to read that. And Sandwich is another one that came out, I think 2 years ago by Catherine Newman. And that's been resonating with people a lot. Every once in a while on Substack, I put like a note out and say, do you have any book recommendations? And that one always comes up.
That's one that I've downloaded because it was on Kindle Unlimited. So I think I downloaded. It's a short book too. Like, it's pretty thin.
It takes place in like Cape Cod or Martha's Vineyard, somewhere like that. And there's a family on vacation for a week. So, it's like a week in the life, kind of. And the other one that everybody always writes when I put that query out is All Fours, which I have not read, but apparently
I haven't heard of that one.
It's like a woman in middle age having a sexual awakening. So it's sort of like I don't know if this is a fair comparison, but it's sort of like the 50 Shades of Grey of
middle age.
of this year. Yeah, of middle age. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
I guess.
I
I did
haven't
like
read
50
it.
Shades of Grey. I did like 50 Shades of Grey. I'm like the one of the few people because I get made fun of for that, but that's okay. I liked him.
Well, you know what? Millions of people read it.
Yes.
Clearly they enjoyed it.
I know.
Exactly.
Well, but yeah, I guess. Whatever. Okay, I was trying to think what ones have I read that we have not mentioned.
Mhm.
So I had to go on to IMDb because they made a TV show or a mini series about it with Deborah Messing, and I was like, what is the name
What
of that
is
book?
it?
The Starter Wife. Did you ever read The Starter Wife?
I don't think I have.
Was that a book?
It was a book.
Wait, is that the one where they wait, no,
Like-
I'm thinking of
Okay.
the
First Wives Club? I think
No,
that's what I
the
Oh, that's
one where-
another
went
one
to.
too.
where she's a lawyer and anyway, it wasn't Deborah Messing. So sorry.
No, it's okay. No, but yeah, the Starter Wife, it was something like her husband like left her for a younger woman, I think, and of course she lives in Malibu on like in a beautiful beach house and all that. But yeah, no, that one, I mean, that was a long time ago, but I remember really enjoying that one. And now that you said that, The First Wives Club is a book. I never read it.
Is it? I haven't read it either.
The movie is like one of my favorites. So now I'm thinking I need to read that because like what was the other one? Fried Green Tomatoes. I read that book, which is so different than the movie, but
I love the movie. I've never read the book, but I love that movie.
They're both great on their own. Like you kind of have to think about them separately. Also knowing
I have to say Fried Green Tomatoes is one of my all-time favorite books, and I almost think it's a perfect book.
Really?
It's so well done.
Now I need to read it.
It's so well done. It's so well paced. It's like a love story and a crime story intertwined.
And they unfortunately in the movie at the time it was made, like they cut out like the real love story. I mean, they made it a friendship, but it really was more than that. And anyway, but yeah, no, that one was good. But now I love First Wives Club. I love it. And I'm so disappointed that I'm not in the First Wives Club because I was the second wife.
That's right.
Okay.
I was about to say you were the first wife, but you're not.
No, I was the second wife. So I'm in the Second Wives Club. I know. I'm like, darn. Anyway, I still love that movie though. So I need to read that book. I might get it right now.
Have y'all read Winter in Paradise by Ellen Hildebrand?
I haven't read that one. I've read
Because
Ellen
that's
Hildebrand,
also a middle-aged book. She's going to paradise. What island is it? I wrote it down here. St. John. She goes to St. John in the Caribbean, and her husband has died. He died on the island, and then it comes about that he has a whole second family there.
Oh,
and so
God, that sounds great.
She's going through the death of her husband, but also uncovering all of these secrets. And it becomes I think it's a 3-book series that she wrote. Ellen Hildebrand. I think what else? But I thought it was very well done, and it was different than her other books that she's written, in my opinion. Like different setting, I guess. She does a lot of the Cape Cod, Nantucket type things. But that was a fun one as well.
I've got a Christmas one.
Ooh, tell us.
A Debbie Macomber that also was made into, I don't know if it was Hallmark, but one of the things made
Seasonal,
it. It's called it's Trading Christmas. And it's like one where if I remember correctly, like a mom was going to go visit her adult daughter. And I think she was going to surprise her or I don't know. There's something where she's like at her daughter's house and her daughter's not there or something. And then she meets a man and, he's also like, I don't know if her husband had died, I don't remember, but it was cute. And I remember the movie was cute too. I think I might have bought the movie because I couldn't find it.
I feel like that one sounds so familiar. I don't know if I've watched the movie or read the book or
but
something.
That's because it's probably on the list of the plots that all Hallmark movies are. And if I recall correctly, actually, this one might not. I feel like this one was racier than Hallmark. So maybe it was like
Netflix or something.
When ABC Family used to exist, something like that.
Lifetime.
Or Lifetime. That's true. Oh my gosh. The best Christmas movie of all of those is from Lifetime. The Spirit of Christmas. It's not middle age though, but The Spirit of Christmas, where the ghost becomes human for the 12 days of Christmas, and he is very good looking, and it's just so good. It's such a good movie. Highly recommend.
Okay.
I'll have to
Highly
watch that one.
Totally off topic.
Well, in terms of books that have been made into shows, I was doing some research today on titles because one of the things I always do is if you loved this book, here's other
Oh,
recommendations
I
at the
love
end of the
that.
month. And so I was working on that for Hot Not Bothered, and I came across one that I cannot wait to read. And apparently it was made into a television show, and it's called Confessions of a 40-something fuck up.
Ooh.
I haven't heard of
Yeah.
that one.
I haven't either. And so then on the cover, it says the inspiration for the new show on ABC. So I assumed that was our ABC, but maybe it it could be like Australia also has an ABC. So maybe I'm, just making assumptions, but
And sometimes they'll change the name of the title of the TV show just a little bit to make it past the moderators or whoever is the censors.
Yeah.
So maybe it's even called something different if it's on ABC.
Yeah. So, and then there's another one called, maybe this is the same, maybe, okay, let's just ignore that.
Yeah.
The show called Not Dead Yet?
Yes. And it has the girl, not dead yet. Wait. Was that with Christina Applegate?
No, that was
Mike.
Oh,
Dead
that's
yet.
dead to me.
Okay. So
That was
Not Dead
good.
Yet was the show I was originally thinking of with Gina Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah, where she writes obituaries or she's
Yes.
like
And then
followed by
she
a
sees the
ghost?
people and they follow her around. Love that show.
I'm kind of wondering if this was the inspiration for that, but anyway.
I have one that is a reverse on Big. So the movie Big, Tom Hanks, where he's a kid that wants to be big. This is called This Time Tomorrow by Emma Straub or Strauss.
Oh, yeah.
And it's right before her 40th birthday, the day before. Everything is going kind of mediocre in her life. And she goes and takes a nap in her father's shed. Her dad isn't doing so well, kind of ill. Goes and takes a nap in her father's shed and wakes up as a 16-year-old.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
And so she's reliving her 16th birthday over and over and over again. So
like
with all of her
Groundhog Day.
friends, her, family, like all of this stuff. But it's kind of talking about, whenever Tom Hanks was younger, he was looking at it. He wanted to do all of these things that would be cool for a kid to do. She wants to do all the things that, when she was 16, she was too shy to do or wouldn't have done. Or how does her adult self look at things now as a 16-year-old? So it was such a good book. I love that. She also did one, We're All Adults Here, I think. And it featured a mom and then some adult children. And I think the father had died. And so kind of talking about that too. When Emma Straub, I don't know how you pronounce her name, when she wrote This Time Tomorrow, she has a dad who's famous in the sci-fi community.
Oh.
And he's like a famous author. I can't remember what his name is, but her dad was in the process of dying whenever she wrote this. So it's kind of like an homage to him as well, because she's able to talk about, because the dad in the book is also a sci-fi writer. So
that's sweet.
It was a really sweet book. I really enjoyed it.
Is she a midlife heroine in that one too? Her kids are grown?
Yes.
Oh, gotcha.
So the one in This Time Tomorrow, it's the day before her 40th birthday. So, but she doesn't have children. So
gotcha.
That one. But the one, We're All Adults Here, it's adult children, and then an adult mother.
Okay.
So I finally figured it out. Confessions of a 40, I looked at the cover. Confessions of a 40-something fuck up is by Alexander Potter, and the cover says, now a hit ABC series, Not Dead Yet.
So it was.
So, which I don't think ran very long, but I remember watching a few of them. Like the woman writes obituaries and she starts getting visited by a ghost who helps her write the obituaries or something like that.
That's fine.
I enjoyed the show. I just looked it up and it ended after 2 seasons. So
okay, yeah.
I'm like, boo. Won't be back this year. But I enjoyed it. Had Gina Rodriguez, the older brother from Everybody Loves Raymond was in it.
Oh,
Oh,
So it was a fun show.
it was fun.
well, I
I
can't
don't
wait to
know.
read that book.
And then,
Okay, I've got one for
okay,
us. It's
let's hear
not
it.
published. But we got to read it. Awakened Power by
Yes, our
Christine
friend
Weller.
Christine Wellert.
Yeah,
So
our friend
she
Chris.
just published a book, Beach Club Bloodshed,
Mm-hmm.
and then that one, it's super fun. But the heroine in that one is she younger? She's in her 30s.
And the Beach Club Bloodshed is
yeah,
younger.
yeah.
I think maybe late 20s. But
But
she
when
also wrote a
Awakened
book.
Power comes out,
Yes, because it's gonna at some point. It's what did we decide it was? What genre?
oh, I don't remember.
It kind of crosses genres, but either way, it is a heroine who's in her 40s and like she felt like our age, like she seemed young, like like you say, age is a
She was
number.
doing
Like
things still.
she was doing things. Her life was not over because she's in her
Yes.
40s and her child's an adult or anything like that.
Mhm.
Like she just was living her life, going for a run, doing all these things, like just living her life. And I was like, yes, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And
So
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
one of the things that catches me about the midlife heroines, it makes them more realistic, is I know so many women who are doing just that. They're running races, they're finding a new hobby, they're basically, like I said, rediscovering themselves in this middle age of who am I now? And it really is about reinvention
Yeah,
in
I
so
mean,
many
we're
different
doing
ways.
it. We're doing it,
Yeah,
Leyna.
we started a
podcast.
exactly.
We did. We started a podcast at 42 and
Isn't that the joke? Like once you hit your 40s, you have to pick one. It was read a lot of books, start a podcast. I can't remember what the other ones were, but I was like, I did both. I read a lot of books and I started a podcast.
Yes.
That's
Yes, we did.
That's awesome.
And I know we've read a book, LJ. I know you've read it too, Between Wrath and Mercy by
Yes.
Jess Wisecup.
And is it a duology or a series?
It's a series.
Okay.
I think we've only read the first two, but I think she had
I've
a couple
only read
after
the
that.
first one, but I do own
You
the
should have read the
second
second one.
I know. But does it have a cliffhanger?
I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't
I'm
like
looking at it now,
cliffhangers.
and the main character she's 34, but I felt like it's a second chance romance. She has an older teenage daughter who gets kidnapped. It is romantasy. It was really fun, and it felt like the character was our age. Like I didn't feel like she was like she was worried about things at second chance romance. She's like, this guy hasn't seen me since I had a baby.
Right.
Like,
that's
my body has
stuff.
changed. I'm not 18 years old anymore. Those were the kind of thoughts that she's having in her head. And she's having a romance, but then also at the same time holding space for thinking about her daughter. And here's what I need to do. It was really well done.
Yeah.
And I
it
know
was nice.
34 falls below our threshold of 40.
A little bit. No,
But it was a
like
good
here's
book.
the thing. In fantasy, like I got some romantasy books up there. It's always like an 18-year-old with a 300-year-old fave.
Right?
And don't get me wrong, we're fine with it because we also love the 300-year-old fave. But I'm not going to identify with an 18-year-old.
No.
Yeah.
Like I'm just not.
Well, that's what's, makes story powerful is when it touches you personally. And, that's why I'm so passionate about the Middle Book Club because we just relate to these heroines differently. And you can't, it's kind of a cliche to say this, but you can't be what you can't see. And it's just so reassuring to, even if they're fictional, even if they're completely just out of control in other areas of their life, if you see something happening to another person, you just don't feel so alone.
Yeah.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention my book because it's got 4 midlife heroines. My latest came out a year ago, and it's called Tired Ladies Take a Stand.
Yes.
And this one is actually, this one I loved writing because it's loosely autobiographical about my 3 best friends and my 2 best friends and I. The 4th character is an amalgamation of people. But the story itself is a split timeline. Part of the book takes place when these women are in their late 20s and they're all living in San Francisco, and they're getting their feet under them and building their careers and fully adulting for the first time. And they've all broken up with stupid boys, and, you know, they're single, and they're just living. They have this, what they call their year of yes, and they just live their best San Francisco life. And then flash forward to they're all in their late 40s, early 50s. And this philosophy of yes that carried them through so much adventure and brought them so much accomplishment throughout much of their life has become toxic because you just, that's part of middle age, is learning that you cannot say yes to everything and what you can say no to. And so they start saying no, and mayhem ensues because people are not used to it when we start saying no to things.
No.
So one of the books that I had written down here was Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes.
Yes.
And your, I think the tagline for your book was Year of No.
Yeah.
or one of the quotes from the back was Year of No. And I was just like, yes. And Shonda Rhimes says, if you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And if you're saying no to something, you're saying yes to something else. And I think your book, it sounds like it really embodies that, because it's really saying these women said yes for so long, and now they have to, you know, learn the other side of that and learn to say no so they can say yes to taking control of their lives again.
That's a great way of putting it. I read Shonda Rhimes' book, and it gave me like an anxiety attack. I was just like,
did you have the, oh my gosh, I haven't done this with my life yet? That's how I felt. I was like, oh my gosh, here she is writing like 20 shows and has 3 children as a single mom.
And she's saying, I have to say yes to more. Yeah. But I mean, that's the perfect way of putting it, though. If obviously I missed that part in the book where if you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else. You know, we didn't necessarily learn that lesson as women. No. It's say yes, say yes, say yes. And when I was coming up in my career, the advice was, you know, put your hand up for things, be seen, do more, volunteer for things, you know, at work so that people, you know, you get seen and you get known. And those are all yeses. You know, and so then you take that on in the rest of your life. And then there's all this guilt of the things that you just feel you have to say yes to. And God, it's exhausting.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets really exhausting. But that's part of what I will say, what's part of what is really great about your 50s is you kind of run out of yeses. And so you don't, you're a little saucier about when you say yes.
I've had that struggle of, someone described it to me. You know, it's not like women are juggling balls. It's that you're juggling balls and some of them are glass. And so you have to figure out what's important. And so maybe by your 50s, you've figured out which ones are the important ones and which ones, you know, are rubber and they can bounce. And which ones, if you drop it, like, oh, crap, you know, that was really important. And I think
hopefully, fingers crossed,
I'm getting to the point where I'm figuring out more of what is important. And I don't know if I'm all the way there yet, but, you know, give me a little more time. I'll get there.
Yeah.
We will. I know. See, and I feel like I'm coming out of a season. Well, I have been coming out of it. I've kind of been out of it, of where I didn't say yes to much. And like now I'm like, okay. I mean, I guess that's part of the reinvention, you know, life after divorce. And like, you know, and I'm enjoying that. But like you said, I agree. Like, we can't say yes to everything, even when we want to. And even we feel guilty like we're supposed to. But
supposed to.
No. Like we're
I did put
to.
Tired Ladies Take a Stand on my TBR because I was like, that one just sounds like it's going to resonate with me so well. And I went through a phase, like full on PTA mom, Girl Scout leader.
That's how we met. We
were
met
PTA
because
moms.
We were both, when in kindergarten, everyone wanted, well, there's 3 of us, right? Or was it was just you, me, and Tina?
I think
was
it
there
was
someone
3
else?
of us. Yeah.
But, you know, and, you know, it's really funny looking back at that. I think Miss Moss realized that I was not the same because didn't she give you stuff to cut out?
Yes.
Or she
and I would
never
give it to
gave
my
me
husband.
She
Because I
never
can't cut in
said,
straight lines.
she never gave me anything to cut out, like
That's
ever.
funny.
Like I think she let me make copies for her because she's like, oh, she's worked in a school, she can work the copier. But she never gave me any of the things to cut out or assemble for the kids. And I remember hearing from you and from Tina, and I'm like, okay, maybe she's like, she's not going to do a good job, which she probably was right. I was not cut out to be
a cutter.
or just a PTA mom. But I had fun at the elementary school where we met. I did. We had some fun people. But
for me, it was figuring out, okay, do I really need to be doing all of this stuff? And I dropped a lot of it because it was like, this is too much. It's too much.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think that's part of the difference between being like having, being a mom of younger kids and being a mom of older kids, because when they're younger, it's really hard to see what's going to be a catastrophic choice and what's not.
Yes.
Like, I can't even tell you how many times I had that thought about like, oh, what if what I just said or what I just did, or if I handled that wrong, I just screwed my kid up. You know, it's going to be the thing
I'm
that
going to be the reason for all of their therapy now.
Yeah. Yep.
And even though it's true that they say bigger kids, bigger problems, we just sent our youngest of 3 off to college. So we're empty nesting and I'm so sad. I'm so sad. But like, it doesn't, even for like the last few years, everything hasn't felt so consequential, you know, like, especially when the kids are, you know, you're so hands-on with them. Everything feels really consequential, and that does ebb over the years. So that's nice. You know, the problems do become bigger because they handle everything on their own, and then when they come to you, it's something they really need help with.
Yeah. That's when they're like, here's the mess that I made. How do I fix it?
Yes. Yes.
Here's what I did.
So we have kids the same age. One of us has children that are doing great and not doing all the crazy things. And then one of us has the one that, you know, we're going to see
test boundaries.
Or runs right across them sometimes. Wonderful person. Just giving me gray hairs. I mean, one of us. I'm not saying it was me.
I had one of those.
Everyone knows.
I had one of those.
Yeah. Yeah. So will I survive, I guess?
Yes, you will survive. I remember having a conversation with my mother-in-law once because she also had 3 boys. And I said, we were talking about this child. And I was like, I honestly think he might kill me from stress. And she said, well, I thought my husband was her middle son. And she said, I thought Chad was going to end up in jail.
He turned out okay.
He turned out great.
Yours will too.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that this is all getting out of the system before, you know, leaving the nest.
There you go. Yeah. So my husband, we always joke about whenever his freshman year of college, he had all these like, I can do whatever I want now. And so he stayed in his dorm room and played video games all night and didn't go to class. That was his wild and crazy times. But that happened whenever he was 18 versus when I was younger, I was the wild one. So
see, I'm like your husband. I'm like your husband. It was college for me. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I didn't ever do anything. So I waited.
Well, now you can reinvent yourself.
Now I can go be wild.
Wild things. Tired. Like
wild as long as it ends by 8 p.m. so I can go to sleep. I'm just saying.
I read this article today, and there's a thing now called divorce. Have you guys heard about this?
No.
Talking about transforming your life and reinventing your life and things like that. And there's something about, so they actually, because apparently it's like becoming a thing on social media. And so the journalist went and talked to actual doctors to see if it was a psychologist and stuff, to see if it was an actual thing. And apparently it is a thing. And part of it is hormonal, because as your hormones start to recede, you have less patience and less resilience with, not less resilience, I guess is the wrong word, but you just have less, you're willing to put up with less, which is probably because by the time you get into your 50s, you're kind of out of fucks to give.
Yep. That's what I was about to say.
And so things about your spouse start to drive you crazy, and you wake up and you're like, I don't have to deal with this. I don't want to deal with this. And it ends the relationship. Yeah. You wake up to like the awareness of how much you've been tolerating that you don't want to tolerate anymore.
Yeah.
I will say that as my marriage has progressed, I've seen different points in marriage where we've had large groups of friends that get divorced.
Yeah.
And it was like the 3-year mark, the 7-year mark, and then the 20-year mark, surprisingly. That seems to be one where it was like people are like, yeah, I think I'm good. Let's divorce. And that would hit right around the 40s for most of my friends, like early 40s. So it's interesting to see that that is maybe a menopause thing. Maybe it's a male menopause thing too. Like men go through their midlife crisis.
Their midlife crisis. Yep.
It could be. It could be.
I mean, because everybody's having hormones going up and down, and interesting to think about. I'd never thought about a meno divorce though, but that's an interesting concept.
That is an interesting concept.
Well, and then like if the woman changes and she suddenly realizes that she's not going to tolerate that anymore, then she's a different person than he married.
Yes.
So whether or not it's hormonal for his hormones is definitely hormonal for both of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, it's not all hormones, but I just thought that was really interesting.
No, and I think it too makes sense if you're like assuming that far in, if you have kids, they're older. Like you said, like when they're younger, you're so hands-on and doing all the stuff. And as they get older, it's less so. And then you can kind of look around and be like, things aren't necessarily like we've been too busy to worry about ourselves. And so I mean, I was surprised when I went through a divorce. Yeah. But in hindsight, like, I mean, I can see like, we weren't the same people anymore. I don't know if hormones had anything to do with it, but we were a little bit younger, but it makes sense to me because I know where I am now. Like, I don't want to date. I don't want a man right now. Like, I just want to be selfish and like, just enjoy my kid and my animals and my new job and all this stuff. And I am just like you said, I have no more fucks to give. So like, I'm not gonna I'm okay. I've been married. I don't have to settle at this point.
There you go.
I can just be happy. Like, I don't know. Anyway.
I love it.
That's the great thing about middle age is that you've figured out some of these things for yourself and you're like, okay, like we're going to do this.
Well, it's like you talking about like, we're more confident in who we are. Like because we just don't care. We're like, this is who I am. And not in the toxic way of, well, if you don't like how mean I am, then, you just, whatever. I don't mean it like that, but like, we embrace our quirks, like we were saying, and we appreciate the quirks in other people. And I don't know, it's nice to we just try to be ourselves.
Yeah. And when you have that newfound confidence or whatever, then you go off and you have these great adventures, like going to look for the golden beetle in Borneo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even though that was
That's
fictional.
So fun. I know. You had me thinking like, how have I never heard of this? No. Because it's in a book. It's okay.
Book worlds are better. Well, we've talked about a lot of really good books, and I know I have several on my to-read list now.
I know. I was so glad I started writing them down, and then I saw you were taking notes, and I'm like, perfect.
I took notes. They're there.
That's
We're
great.
going to put them in our show notes so that everybody can see it, and we'll also link the Middle Book Club and also Gretchen's books. Can they find your books? Do you have a website that they can go to?
Yeah, my books are available everywhere, but also you can find me at GretchenAnthony.com. Yeah.
So yay, it's so fun.
And I'm very excited that we got to chat with you and have you on. I appreciate you being here.
Yes, it was so much fun. And I love this topic because we are middle-aged and we need, like you said, like we need to see other women in media, like in books. We need to see them because then we feel less alone. We know we're not alone. And then it, like you kind of said, like it kind of shows us like how to be and that it's okay to
Life's
deal
not
with all
over.
this stuff. Life's not over.
It's not over.
By a long shot.
No. I love a good moo-moo.
I know.
But we don't have to wear the moo-moo yet.
We don't just if we want to.
Yeah,
Not because
we can cosplay Golden Girls.
Yes. I am down for that. For real.
Caftans and cocktails.
Yep.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. I got the Golden Girl house. Like I got 4 bedrooms. I told my friends, like, I was like, when your husbands die, and then I was like, I really don't wish death on your husbands. I like them. Like, like My friend, like Leyna has a really awesome husband. Like I'm like all my friends' husbands. I'm like, I need to find that. Like put them all to, I'm like, that's what I want. But yeah, no, my friends have amazing husbands, but for real, I have the Golden Girls house. So I'm just saying. It's a nice
That's
1-story,
fantastic.
4-bedroom house.
We can all move in.
Can all move in. But I don't want them to die. So we're good.
Their old age. Thank you so much, Gretchen, for being here.
Thank you.
Oh,
we
thank
appreciate
you, Leyna
it.
and LJ, this was so
really
much
do.
fun.
Okay, I'm so
Until next week, friends. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
So thank you for listening to More Than a Book Club podcast. We are recorded and produced in McKinney, Texas.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.